Why deep thinkers often walk alone. A hidden truth about intelligence. Have you ever wondered why those who see the world differently often feel like outsiders? Why the people who ask deeper questions or think beyond the surface seem more isolated, misunderstood, even avoided? It's not your imagination. There's something about deep thought that naturally creates distance, and it has more to do with human nature than you might realize. Throughout history, society has always struggled with thinkers who dared to step beyond the ordinary. From Nietzsche to Emily Dickinson to Alan Turing, those who saw the world with sharper clarity or radical ideas were often met with suspicion, dismissal, or silence. Not because they were wrong, but because they made others uncomfortable. But why? Why does deep thinking unsettle people so deeply? The answer is rooted in psychology and in the way we, as humans, protect our sense of self. You see, when you meet someone stronger than you or richer than you, you might feel envy, but rarely do you feel personally attacked. Their strength or wealth is external. It doesn't necessarily reflect on you. But intelligence? Intelligence strikes at the core. When a deep thinker enters the room, they don't just share new ideas. They become a living reminder of what others haven't considered, questioned, or understood. They hold up a mirror to everyone else's limits, and that's a very uncomfortable reflection to face. This is why so many deep thinkers find that people pull away, change the subject, or dismiss their thoughts as overcomplicating things. It isn't because they're wrong. It's because they force others to confront what they'd rather ignore. And this tension isn't new. It's built into the way our minds and societies have evolved. In early human tribes, survival wasn't about who was the most thoughtful or insightful. It was about who fit in, who kept harmony, who followed the rules. Those who questioned everything risked disruption, and disruption risked the tribe's survival. Even today, in modern life, this tribal instinct lingers. People still instinctively value belonging over truth, comfort over challenge, simplicity over complexity. Have you ever tried to introduce a serious or profound thought in casual conversation, only to feel the mood instantly shift? Have you noticed how most group discussions float on the surface, avoiding depth, preferring gossip, trends, or simple opinions? This isn't a coincidence. It's self-protection. The human brain resists discomfort, even intellectual discomfort. When faced with ideas that shake their worldviews, most people choose denial over curiosity. They retreat to what feels familiar and safe. And the person who brought the challenge, the deep thinker, gets pushed away, labeled as weird, too intense, or overly complicated. Even science backs this up. Neuroscientists have discovered that when a person feels intellectually outmatched, the fear center of the brain, the amygdala, lights up as if facing real physical danger. The brain reacts to intellectual threat almost the same way it reacts to being cornered by a wild animal. It's not about logic, it's about survival. And this is why, strangely enough, deep thinkers often do better in one-on-one conversations. When there's no audience, no group status to protect, people feel safer to open up, to admit uncertainty. But in groups, the pressure to appear certain takes over, and the deep thinker becomes a threat again. It gets even more complicated. Psychologists have mapped out cognitive biases that explain why intelligence often triggers discomfort, like the Dunning-Kruger effect, where those who know the least often believe they know the most, while those who are truly wise question themselves constantly. Or the status quo bias, where the brain favors familiar, simple ideas, even when they're wrong, because change feels like danger. Or the backfire effect, where challenging someone's belief makes them hold that belief even tighter. In short, most people don't want truth, they want certainty. And in today's world where social media rewards simplicity and outrage over depth and nuance, This divide only grows wider. Viral content isn't driven by wisdom. It's driven by speed, emotions, and easy answers. Thoughtfulness simply doesn't fit in a 10-second clip. So where does that leave the deep thinker? Often alone, often misunderstood, often wondering if there's something wrong with them. But the truth is, there's not. Schopenhauer, the famously dark philosopher, believed that the more deeply you see reality, the more painful and isolating life becomes. Because you no longer find comfort in the things that keep most people content, small talk, petty ambitions, shallow pleasures. You see past the games, past the illusions, past the masks. And that vision, clear as it is, can feel like a curse. But maybe there's power in this loneliness. Maybe the deep thinker's path is hard because it's rare, because it matters. So if you've ever felt disconnected, alien in a shallow world, remember, you're not broken. You're awake. And in a world that fears depth, staying awake is a quiet rebellion.